Welcome
back
to
Beer
and Books.
That was not coordinated at all.
That was actually really nice.
We thought it'd be fun to say beer and then get the
I mean, this is
books.
This is the third episode.
Maybe we'll perfect it at some
I don't know.
point.
Probably not. It's way too difficult. So we are drinking a Citrus Mistress.
It's really hot.
Try to say that 5 times fast. Citrus Mistress. This is from Hop Valley Brewing Company in Eugene, Oregon.
Brewed with grapefruit peel.
Yep. IPA brewed with grapefruit peel. Yeah, very good. A classic burnt orange color with a bouquet of citrus, peach, and tropical fruits. 80 IBUs, that's why it's a little bitter, and 6.5 ABV. I mean, yeah. This is one of those beers, like...
I can only have one of these.
Yeah.
This one.
And you just like the name. You know how they say don't judge a book by its cover? Sometimes you judge a beer by its title. Citrus Mistress.
And that's a little clue into what one of our topics will be coming up, but we're not going to talk about that tonight. The whole judging a book by its cover.
Yeah, so this is Beer and Books, where we drink beer and talk about books. So I think we got 7 books to talk about today, and we're going to try to keep it around 20 minutes. Okay. So let's see what we can do.
Yeah. How did we end up with 7?
So,
oh, because we're talking about book club books too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So of course we got to update you on our book club book. We are meeting this Sunday.
So that's 2 nights.
2 days away.
To do.
2 days away. We're going to be talking about this book, The Last One at the Wedding, by Jason Rekulak. You can see where our bookmarks are at. We're about at this. We're at the same part, right? You caught up to me?
I think I caught up too.
Yeah, so we're at the exact same point in this book. I don't know, 65% done, 60%.
When I updated on my apps earlier, I was at 59%.
Yeah, 59% done. So we got a little work to do before our meeting on Sunday. So if you're part of the book club, we're excited to talk to you about this book because it's getting really good. Yeah. And we've kind of been discussing it a little bit, some of our theories. Yeah. And we're never right, so.
We might be this time though. I'm feeling pretty confident on at least one of the things. Yeah, I don't know, but we'll see.
There's a mystery, and pretty much everyone in the book is suspicious. A
bunch of unreliable, not narrators. I mean, there really isn't only one narrator in this book. It's told from the perspective of the soon-to-be bride's father.
Yeah, Frank. So we're excited to talk about this book. I'm going to read a little bit probably after we do this. But yeah. So.
It's getting good. Started off a little bit slow for me, but.
Yeah, slowish. I mean.
But we'll come on and do a more in-depth review after we finish it up. Or after we talk with our book club. Yeah.
So why don't you show our next month's book club pick?
So next month, we're switching it up quite a bit here. Going from
I would say so.
mystery thriller to a found family community type book. This is called The Banned Bookshop of Maggie Banks by Shauna Robinson. I've not read anything by her yet, but I'm really excited for this one. A celebration of how stories enliven and inspire community, the perfect book for book lovers. Sounds perfect.
It's very bookish.
I, Maggie Banks, solemnly swear to uphold the rules of Cobblestone Books. If only I, Maggie Banks, cared about following the rules. A book lover's dream. And Abby Jimenez, who is one of my favorite romance authors, gives her stamp of approval on the front. A sparkling, bookish story about rules just begging to be broken. I couldn't get enough. So yeah, it looks very good. I hope that this, brings about some good discussion with our group. It'll be something a little bit different because it's not a rom-com as far as I can tell, unless there's a little side love interest in it. I'm not really sure, but I don't think that it would be focused on that.
Yeah, so Maggie has to open up a underground book club because this town she live in is very like strict with their bookstores. And she wants to sell books that people actually want to read. So the banned books. She wants to read the
banned bookshop.
Yeah. So she has to start an underground book club, running a series of events celebrating the books readers actually love, but keeping the club quiet, selling forbidden books, and dodging the literary society is nearly impossible. especially when Maggie unearths a town secret that could upend everything. So
yeah,
we'll be
good.
talking about, this will be our next club's book club book.
I believe we're meeting on, if I remember correctly, I want to say it's February 23rd. That seems right. So it'll be a Sunday.
Yeah. So it's a virtual book club, so anyone can join. If you want to join, get in contact with us here on YouTube or on Instagram or any of the social medias, and we can get you set up with the chat, and we can get you set up if you want to read it with us.
And yeah, this book shouldn't be too hard to find because I don't know when it came out. You'd have to look, but I got this one used. Used book, so I'm sure you could find it at the library pretty easily.
2022.
Yeah, or find a used copy if you don't want to buy brand new. But
good length, 300, just over 300 pages.
If you do decide to buy brand new though, and we'll do a separate, or maybe we'll talk more about it on a separate episode. So I'll just mention it really quickly right now. But whenever we show books. And we haven't always gotten them from bookshop.org, but I would love to encourage you to do so if you're thinking about buying a book or two instead of Amazon maybe. And I have promoted Amazon before for books. I get it. Like we've done that before as well. It's obviously like the cheapest option, and yes, they come very quickly. But if you are in a financial position to be able to support indie bookstores, bookshop.org is an excellent way to do that, because you can literally select, like, I think any indie bookstore really that you can think of, and it will pop up at the top, and you'll know that that's the one that you're supporting with your online purchase. So you don't have to physically shop in that store to be able to support them.
Now, let's say you live in like Maine and you find a bookshop on Instagram that you like in Oregon. You could find them on bookshop.org, and you can actually order from them, and it'll benefit that bookstore.
Yes, benefits that. Yep. So it's really nice that your purchase can give back and help indie bookstores, which, let's face it, need more help and need our support more than
so bookshop,
the big book places online and in person.
So bookshop.org, it's an organization. It's not a business. They're trying to help these bookstores.
We found a really cute bookstore when we went to Iowa with our kids last spring. And then what was cool is, because I knew the name of it and we had visited it and liked it, I wanted to grab another book or two or something once we were home. I don't know how soon it was after we got home. But then I supported that particular bookstore again. So we supported it in person, and then I was able to support them again online. So just wanted to throw that out there, that if you want to buy brand new, and you don't mind doing that. And also, I don't remember the shipping time taking that long. Like, I mean, yes, longer than, what is typical with Amazon. But I still felt like it was very reasonable. And let's face it, like, if you're anything like us, you have lots of other books to keep you busy in the meantime while you're waiting anyway. So.
Worth the wait.
So just wanted to throw that out there. If it's going to be that book that you grab, and you would certainly have time to acquire it through bookshop.org.
And you can
I'll link.
Yep.
I will link it. Yep.
You can link.
Because I do have like an affiliate link with them, and I can put that in the description of this video. And I've already started like a pretty nice like books I recommend list on there, so you could shop from that. Like if you see some books that I recommend that you want to check out. So
you can help out a local bookstore or a non-local bookstore and help us out a little bit too. Yeah. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah. So I guess I kind of did our little spiel for that anyway during this episode, but I'll bring it up again in the future too, just because I think it's nice to be able to do that when you can.
Check them out if you never heard of them.
And then I guess now, so those are our book club books, and then now we're going to move on to, we narrowed it down to 5 books that we have both read. We just said like ever, not like specifically in 2024.
We don't always read the same books, obviously, for book club, but a lot of times we're reading separate books. We have a little difference. We have a little bit different tastes, some similarities.
Sometimes, yes.
But we have different takes. Takes? It's a different word. We have different tastes.
He's only had a few sips of beer. I
It's this mistress. I don't know. It's citrusy. It's those 80 IBUs. But we narrowed down to 5 books that we've both read. Probably the 5 best ones so far that we would say.
Yeah. That I think we can mutually say were our favorite reads.
Yeah, because a lot of the books we read are not the same. But let's dig in.
But yeah, so the only one that is nonfiction here is Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zahner. We've talked about this book quite a bit in, like, I don't know if we've talked about it a lot in beer books because we've only been doing this one for a little while, but maybe in Let's Talk Books.
Yes.
We've definitely talked about this one. If you are looking for a good memoir rec, we would absolutely suggest this one. I listened to the audio of it and Corey read the physical book. I absolutely loved it on audio because Michelle herself read it. And I just think it's such a special treat when the author themselves reads their own book, because you're literally getting to hear her tell her own story. But Corey said that the physical book was excellent as well. We both agreed that it almost felt like it could be a novel. Like it was told in a way that, you know, could feel like fiction. So if you're not a nonfiction person and you're trying to get into it, this would be a great place to start because it reads like fiction, I think.
Yeah. So Michelle is obviously a very talented artist. She is a part of a band called Japanese Breakfast. Maybe you've heard of it. But she's obviously an artist and clearly a very talented writer. This book is excellently written. It is very sad. The story itself is very, very sad. Hence the word crying in H Mart. But just really well written and a great story.
It's like a great story of redemption. I feel
Great story of redemption,
sad, but like,
and just her upbringing and family and just forgiveness. Really good book, and it, also a good side note, a lot about food. So
it might make you hungry.
Yeah. So if you live in a state that has H Marts, they're still around. It's kind of a Asian grocery store, and they just go there and they cook, and it's there's a ton of food. Ton of food lingo. So a lot to this book. But if you need a memoir, this is the one. If you haven't read a memoir or you want to get into memoirs, start with this one. And
then I have others that I can definitely recommend too, because Corey doesn't really read them.
This is actually the only memoir I've read so far, and I picked it up because so many people were talking about it. I got influenced myself to read it, and it was well worth it.
Yes.
So Crying in H Mart, you got to check it out.
Then next up is Shark Heart, a love story by Emily Haybeck. So this is the book that got Corey back into reading after a really, really long hiatus from reading.
This is a very special
book.
book.
I think he will hold this close. I mean, I can't speak for you, but I think you've said this.
I want to frame it.
He'll hold it close to his heart for a long time because that's saying a lot. Like, I feel like if you have not connected with her on Instagram yet, or I don't know if you've connected with her in any way, but you should, like, reach out to her directly and tell her that her book is responsible for getting you back into reading, because that's some pretty high praise.
That's good.
So yeah, this is a book like that I hear a little bit about, but I don't really see a ton of people
talking about. It's very
about
under the radar.
Yeah,
it was
which
a book
would be
of the
another episode that we do.
Book of the month
for other books as well that we think
August of 23.
Getting more attention, but yeah, this is one that I think should be. And it's not, for whatever reason.
Let's try to get it out into the
I know and maybe it's just not for everyone, because it does have kind of like an odd premise, but I think that's just like right there was what intrigued me because it was so different.
Yeah.
A gorgeous debut novel of marriage, motherhood, metamorphosis, and letting go. This intergenerational love story begins with newlyweds Ren and her husband Louis, a man who over the course of 9 months transforms into a great white shark. I mean, I'm sorry, but what? You don't want to pick it up after that? Because I feel like that's really interesting.
The mutation into the great white shark is what sold it for me.
You were hoping for more of that. Like, I think you wanted less of a love story and more of that. You did say that to me.
And the one thing I will say, the love story is not between who you think it would be.
It is, but it's not central. It's not like it said that in the little blurb.
Intergenerational.
It's like, it's not solely focused on the marriage love aspect, but it is to an extent.
Yeah.
But the bigger love stories between a mother and a daughter.
Yeah. So the author Emily, she's really big into like screenplay,
like theater and
screenplay. So this book is actually written almost like a script,
which was
you
really
can see
like to me,
a lot of the pages are just really short and.
If you want to mentally like
Like look at
help yourself get through a book faster,
like,
or like
look at some of these pages.
So technically, it's not even really how many pages it says it is, because some of the pages
Yeah.
are like super short.
Yeah, and it kind of goes
it's a
back
really
and forth
interesting
with
format that she
timelines.
chose
But
to use.
like it says like scene
Yeah,
up
some
there,
of it,
but
yeah.
really I mean, I thought it was an excellent book.
I know, and then some. I did see a couple negative reviews recently, and they're just like, I just didn't get it, or like this book didn't work for me.
Yeah,
and yeah, I mean that's true. That happens. But I found myself sobbing towards the end of it, and and it's a book that I'll just never forget, and it is one that I actually do want to reread. That is one that I want to reread.
Yeah, so
I rarely reread books.
So she has a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater. Emily Haybeck, the author. So it obviously, and in the story, the two main characters are big in the theater as well. So it's just, but
I kind of want to get the paperback version. I've been wanting to for a long time.
With the purple cover?
Purple is my favorite color, and when they came out with the paperback.
This is a beautiful cover though too.
I know, but so is the purple one.
You're right.
It's literally the identical, it looks identical with the flowers and everything, but it's just purple. So
if you haven't checked this book out, I mean, check it out. I mean, I think it could read for everyone. I mean, obviously, like, it's very unlike anything I've ever read. And, like, I thought it was going to be about a man mutating into a great white shark, which it was.
That does happen.
But it was just so much more. And then, yeah, after I read this book, I was like, okay, reading's cool.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back, baby.
Yep.
Let's drink some beer and read some books. But
yep.
Give it a whirl.
And then next we have All the Dark Places by Terry Parlato. So this one will always hold a special place in my heart because it was my very first Aardvark book. You can see their little logo right there. Yeah, this was my first pick with them. They had only been around for a few months, so very new company. They started in September of 2022, I want to say, and I signed up with them January of 2023. That seems right, I think. So have I already been with them for 2 years?
For sure.
I feel like that might be right, unless they started in September of 2023. I can't remember, but they are, no, I think it was 2022. They're a pretty new company. They're amazing. Or I should say book subscription is what we call them. But Terry Parlato now came out with 2 more books, and we just got one from her recently, which I know we've shown on here. But I raved about this one so much when I read it that when Corey decided to get back into reading, I was like, okay, you need to read this one. And I'm like, sweet, you talk about
okay, whatever.
And you took a while though to read it because you read that one at like the end of summer or towards like the end of 2023.
Yeah.
And then you didn't read this one until summer of last year.
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, he had been reading some other books, between Shark Heart and this one. But I had such a proud moment for him because that's how I knew in my mind that you can call yourself a legit reader, because I was gone. And this is when I was in Michigan over the summer. And he was texting me about this book. And so he was reading it when I wasn't here. So I was like, okay, so you're actually reading because you want to, not like it's just a thing you're doing with me, because I like to read. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll read a book while you're reading a book. And so I was just like, oh, he actually is like enjoying it. And yeah, you flew through this one pretty quick. I mean, it's like a pretty thin book as well.
This is probably the book this is the book I've read the fastest.
Yeah.
I don't read books fast. Like, for me to take a couple weeks to finish a book is pretty normal.
But
I think this one I finished in 5 days.
Yeah,
that's because it was so like, obviously it's a little shorter, which helped, but still 300 pages. But it was just so gripping.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mystery, and what's nice about this mystery is there's a ton of suspects because there's this big friend group. Beginning of the book, someone is now no longer around, and then they're figuring out which person in the friend group did it, and I had no idea.
Yeah, it took me until almost right up to the end, really, to figure it out.
And it's told from dual perspectives, so you have the main character, Molly, and then you have Rita,
the detective,
who's the detective, and this detective Rita is in all of this Terry Parlato's books. So she always has the same detective in her books, which is pretty cool. Even her new one that just came out,
You need to read her second one.
I do.
Mm-hmm. Because her other one is What Waits in the Woods.
Her new one is just
then,
called.
And then her newest one is like.
So if you want like a
watch your back.
Watch your back. If you want a mystery whodunit thriller, excellent, fast paced. It'll hook you.
Well, and then with like the police like investigation aspect too. I love books like that.
And Detective
like
Rita.
a detective,
yeah, she's an excellent character. Super likable, fun character that like you're just rooting for her to figure out. Yeah, and then
you get to see. So if you keep reading her books, you get to at least see her again. Even though like her books are standalone books, but she's like a character that is consistent. Like it's just like a different crime, different case that she has to.
That's one we've been recommending to a lot of people, especially newer readers, because it's an excellent book to start.
And because I feel like it's tame, I guess you could say, as far as if you're not big into thrillers and they scare you, or like you don't want horror or anything like that, like this would be one that's pretty mild.
It's really more about
it's disturbing,
figuring
but
out.
I mean, it's just like it's a whodunit. It's still not a cozy mystery by any means, but like it's pretty mild.
It's definitely more of the detective figuring out who did it, kind of.
And moving on to a horror book, though.
It's funny. This is the only one that we read for book club. So we're talking about we always read books for book club, but this is the only one that was actually part of our book club
that we both really enjoyed and that made it into our
made the list
top
so far.
Yes. We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer. I think that's how you would say it. And we have talked about this one a lot. I guess probably on Let's Talk Books on our much longer episodes.
Monday nights, 8 p.m.
We're already getting longer on this one.
I said 20 minutes. Yeah, no, that's booky.
We're long-winded sometimes. We just like to talk about books, obviously. This one has like such a cool cover, by the way.
I know, it's like
trippy.
Grippy.
I don't know. It's like kind of cool.
Grippy and trippy.
This has been pretty buzzed about, as in it was getting really hard to even get a copy of it.
Like last fall.
So I was kicking myself too because I knew about it like back in the summer of like when it first released.
Yeah.
I was like, I should have just gotten a copy then. But then when we chose it as a virtual book club option, people were struggling to find a copy, and we were able to. I think I ordered it from Barnes & Noble or something like that. I think that's where I found it.
Oh, we got it,
It was Barnes & Noble.
It was hard to find, though.
Yeah. So this book, they describe it as Get Out. So the movie Get Out meets Parasite, another movie. Well, we've seen both of them now. Yes. It took us a while to watch Get Out, but I think we watched Parasite a while ago.
We did.
I recommend both of them. Pretty creepy. Get Out meets Parasite in this eerily haunting debut and Reddit hit, soon to be a major motion picture, about two homeowners whose lives are turned upside down when the house's previous residents unexpectedly visit. So, yeah.
And they don't leave.
They overstay their welcome. That is for sure.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's one of those books where I wasn't like outright terrified reading it. I feel like I have read things scarier. But it does get under your skin. Like, it is eerie. And I think I did get goosebumps physically a couple times while I was reading it.
There's a couple.
Like, it definitely is like disturbing and like just gets in your head. And, but you know, if you don't mind being at least a little freaked out.
It's not scary, it's just unnerving.
It's unsettling. Yeah, unsettling would be the right
I mean, there was a point when I was reading where I had to go and lock the back door because I was home alone and I was like, this is really weird.
This is a good review on the back. A devilish debut. What begins as mildly uncomfortable grows full tilt terrifying. Stringing the whole thing together is Kluwer's gift for atmosphere and wicked sense of humor. This is a winner. Yeah, and I believe he has set it up for a second book, maybe a third book.
3 books,
which I'm glad about, because our book club, we are all just left like in the dust, like with tons of like questions, which I think was the author's intent, and it obviously gets people talking.
Excellent book club.
But I was just like, what? I'm like, what happened? Like, and so we all have like kind of our theories.
Pretty much no answer was answered. Yeah. No question was answered.
So yeah, this is a good one for really any time. I mean, you could save it for spooky season, like later this year, or read it whenever. It does take place in the winter, and it's still, I mean, we're here in the Midwest where it's like legit winter, what I think of winter, with snow and cold, and they're definitely in a place where there's snow. And
that's why they don't leave, because there's so much snow. And there's other reasons.
Spoilers.
Yeah. I like this book a lot. I thought it was good.
Mhm.
It created excellent discussion
Yeah.
with our book club.
So if you even just do like a buddy read with somebody, or you're in a full-blown book club, it's
Because
sparks a lot of
there
discussion.
it leaves you with tons of questions. And we all had theories, which was cool.
There's Morse code in this book too, by the way, which took
Yes.
took you and I some time to figure out. Somebody had to like
Yeah.
say it, like, oh, by the way.
Yeah, so each chapter.
So then you had to kind of figure out the code at the end of like some of the little.
Yeah, each chapter has a little book,
like in between.
has a little Morse code in it.
Mm-hmm.
You can figure out what it. There's a saying that it says that.
Still, so it's like a puzzle while you read too.
But yeah, it still doesn't answer any questions. But
no.
Excellent book. Check it out.
And last but not least, we will always sing the praises of Geneva Rose. We love her. This is Home is Where the Bodies Are. This was the one that she released in April of last year. So crazy that we're already coming up on April of this year soon enough, when she will be releasing her sequel to The Perfect Marriage. So she has The Perfect Divorce coming out, which I'm very excited about. But Home is Where the Bodies Are. It's excellent. Here's like what the actual book looks like if you haven't seen it. It's floating around on social media. I mean, come on. How cool is that?
It's a cassette tape, VHS
yeah,
tape.
I remember when I was reading that she was coming out with this book, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what a cool premise for a book. Most home movies show happy family memories, but this one reveals a deadly secret. So this one is told like through multiple perspectives.
4 perspectives. And one of the perspectives is in the past. The mom is telling the story in the past.
Yes, and then it's like focused on 3 siblings.
The 3 siblings all have their perspective. And this was one that I also did not figure out. And I know some people had said they did figure it out, but I was
I didn't.
I was shocked.
I was definitely shocked.
I was
My
honestly
jaw was
shocked.
On the floor.
But
yeah.
Excellent book.
I think it was really fast paced. I didn't want to set it down. What does it say here? Because they take us back to 1999 is like the past time frame that they talk about. Beth, Nicole, and Michael must now decide whether to leave the past in the past or uncover the dark secret their mother took to her grave.
Yeah, so they find a video.
They see something on a
video. They find a VHS tape when they're cleaning out their mother's house, and there's something on the tape that reveals something from the past, and they have to figure out what happened. And they don't really get along very well, all 3 of the siblings. They all have their own things.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help. But
so it's almost like it's a thriller for sure, but it's like a family drama too, because they've all got like their things, there's some family trauma, and like it made for a very good read. Very, I was gonna say intriguing. I don't know. Twisty. Yep.
Twisty.
She has been dubbed like the Queen of Twists.
100.
I think Colleen Hoover normally says that on a lot of
100%.
the fronts of her books. Not on this one. Lisa Jewell says, an emotionally charged, twisty, and haunting thriller you won't soon forget. There we go.
I haven't forgotten.
She couldn't have said it better. I was trying to come up with accurate words, and that's why I haven't been asked to write a blurb yet for anybody's book. But maybe someday. That would be pretty cool.
And we did have the privilege of meeting Geneva and her husband, and she did sign a couple of copies of the book for us, which was awesome.
Well, she signed other books as well. Like I bought other books that I have by her. And that was pretty cool.
That was one of the books we were able to read in advance before it even came out.
And if you don't know much about her, she also lives in Wisconsin. Well, she's from Wisconsin, and then she and her husband were not living in Wisconsin for some time, but now they moved back. I don't know where in Wisconsin they are at, but her husband is from the city that we live in. So that's kind of a cool connection.
And this book takes place in her hometown.
Her very small, unincorporated hometown. So
it's
pretty cool.
All cool connections there.
But she's great. You should check her out if you haven't yet. I've had lots of people telling me that they still have yet to read one of her books, or that they're doing that for the first time. And,
it's time. But that's it.
That's a wrap. That was longer than we
Those are the books. Let
but...
us know if you've read any of these books. Let us know what beers we should try, what books we should read. Just leave a comment. If you're watching this video all the way through, thank you so much. We do a long form live video, kind of like this, Monday nights, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
That's
It's
more
called
like an hour.
It's called Let's Talk
It's
Books.
interactive.
Interactive. You can ask questions. So you go back, watch those. Maybe join us on Monday nights, 8 p.m. We'd love to have you.
Yep.
But yeah.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Find a good beer. Find a good book. Maybe a good reading buddy.